graduating early, rising quickly in global consulting, and becoming known as a woman who could carry everything, solve anything, and deliver no matter how high the pressure. But behind the scenes, the pace came with a cost: long hours, back to back travel, sleepless nights, migraines, and a nervous system pushed beyond its limit.
It was hard to see them because everybody around me had it. Like it was super normal. Like it was super normal to have migraines, and if you have migraines, you just take a pill and then it's over, you know. So you can continue working. I remember so good when the program manager like was asking me that question. I couldn't respond. I was really falling into tears. Your body really tells you need to, take a break. It's about time. And then really, like the day coming back from Hawaii back to Switzerland, I did a test, and I was pregnant. And what has changed there is that I positioned myself as the true Caro, as who I am, with my clear boundaries, what is possible, like super confident in myself. I have a higher mission. My mission is to create a paradigm shift in our economy, where especially women, we women, where we start to show our authentic self and tap into our feminine qualities. So when feminine qualities, I mean the intuition that we have, like our inner voice. You have everything within you. Everything that you need in life is already inside you. The sparkle, the joy, the fun, the energy, And it's just about to start remembering that.
Welcome back to Share Her Story, Switzerland. I'm Bhavna, your host, and for me, stories are a way of remembering who we are. Because when one woman shares her truth, she creates a new path for every other woman out there. And today, I'm honored to sit with a woman whose journey does exactly that. Today's guest, Caroline, built her career in the fast lane. Her story is one of ambition, awakening, and an alignment. A story about redefining power and choosing a new way of living and leading. Caroline, I welcome you to Share Her Story, Switzerland.
Thank you so much for this great opportunity and for inviting me, and that you actually, started this journey to give other women the stage to share their stories and to inspire others. And I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you're here to share your powerful transformation. Before we go back to the beginning of your story, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm super excited. I'm really filled with deep gratitude and love. So thank you so much.
Yes, gratitude is my way of living every day. Beautifully said. Let's begin.
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
can I call you Caro?
Yes, Caro, please. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caro, you grew up in an environment where work wasn't just work, it was identity, purpose, and a pride. Let's start there.
Okay.
Growing up in a family where work meant identity, your grandmother's hotel, your mother's shop, how did that shape your beliefs about achievement?
I mean, that shaped it very deep, right? Because I'm actually coming from an environment where I was raised by really like strong, ambitious women, right? So also my grandmother, she started like she was always very ambitious, doing things that was like not normal, right? So traveling then because so you have to work hard to be successful. You have to really like work your ass off, right? To be successful, to reach something, to reach your goals. So I was shown by that, like where they taught me, right, that work is their identity. I mean, because also back there it was their own business. Also there it's like something totally different when it's your own business, your own baby, your own soul. But of course, then I carried that with me when I worked for other companies, because I remember, I think my mother even said, like, if you work for somebody, work like as it is your own business. Yeah, and that's like how I actually, how it was rooted within me, right? So that's why I always, that didn't matter where I worked, I always felt like, okay, this is like my business and I give everything for this company. Yeah.
Wow, I think all the employers you worked for were very lucky to have you.
Yeah.
With this mindset, I
Yeah.
can already imagine how you climbed the ladder at every step of the way faster than other people.
Mm.
Because you had this deep engraved in your belief that you have to work your ass off, right?
Mm.
Yes. With this early conditioning and this mindset of really you work hard to achieve that success, you have to prove yourself to make that identity. What part of that story of those early years still lives in you today?
So still I'm like super ambitious, right? And of course I still have high standards. But I tend now to be more conscious about it, to see, are these also standards that I'm like coming from myself, or is it something that is like from the outside, that somebody tells me how to do it? Because this is what used to be, right, that everybody told me like how to do it. But what I changed is to really like listen to my inside, like to my inner voice, and see, okay, is it really something that I can reach? And I know that we women, like, we can reach a lot if we want. And also having then, what is important is to don't lose the joy of it, because this is actually also what my parents taught me, because they loved what they did. So if you do something, do it like also with passion, with love, with joy. So that's what I'm keeping up today, definitely. So also the jobs that I also like back in consultancy in SAP world, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it working there. Yeah. And that's why I had also much drive. Yeah.
Yes.
But then the thing was that I was just losing my connection to myself, because at one point you just function. Yeah. Yeah.
You always moved fast. Early apprenticeship, early masters, corporate roles during your studies, and then when you were working full time, you had quick promotions way earlier than the other peers. What was really driving that pace, the fast pace?
Interesting thing, I was always connected to myself, that I always knew this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve. So for me it was also like, I want to, it was not about like taking shortcuts, but I want to do it effectively and efficiently. And why spending more time on something which you can achieve in a shorter time of period, right? So I was also everything about efficiency, and there taking the shortcuts. And for me it was like, when I started then working in consultancy, for me it was completely clear when we had the interview and I was introduced to this career path in consultancy, that you're in that moment, it was like you start as a business analyst and consultant, senior consultant, manager. And I'm like, and they told me like, earliest to be like to get manager, it takes like minimum 5 years. And I'm like, sure, in 5 years I'm manager, no worries. Like, yeah. I was like so deeply sure, that this is my goal, that I want to go. So, and I always had this inner calling that actually told me what is available, for what is actually what I can achieve, and really envision that goal really already like very clear. Others would say I manifested, but for me it was like really like I visioned it and reached it. Yeah.
Caro, your early career looked very glamorous. You were traveling to places. You were almost all the time living out of a suitcase. What did it truly feel from the inside?
So in the beginning, it definitely felt amazing, right? I mean, I had the great opportunity to get to know different places all over the world. I was staying in super nice hotels, like 5 or 4 star hotels. When internationally traveling, we even flew business class, so I've never experienced it before. So also when the client was further away, we got a rented cars. We were super nice cars, so it was like really really amazing. Like I was like really showered by a new world that opened up to me, and I really felt there high on life, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, because I spend so much time at the client side or abroad, my colleagues, they become like my best friends. So we had a very good time, relaxing in the sauna or whatsoever, partying, going out for dinner and so on. So in the beginning, it was amazing, like really amazing. But at one point, I was like, okay, do I really want to continue like this for years, like for the next 5, 10, 20 years? And I'm like, no, because what I did is, of course, I was living the best life during the week, but in the weekend, I mean, I was squeezing my private life completely into those 2 or 3 days, spending time with my husband, or back then, yeah, partner, spending time with my friends. So actually, also there, I was always also running on the weekends because I want to be everywhere. What I actually missed out during the week, where I said, okay, I need to change. I want to change something because I want to have a life with my partner together and not the long distance relationship. I'm looking for a different job where the travel is reduced. Job opportunity came in with the opportunity to reduce the travel hours, to work on the newest technology. Then also, and the greatest opportunity was also because they just started out this team, that I could build up this team from scratch. So I suddenly saw really, oh my god, I can have a work-life balance, and as being a consultant, in this fast-paced environment, and there I visioned, okay, yeah, that's then what I want, So that's at one point from the inside, I really felt like I want to have a more balanced life, and I want to integrate more my private life into my career, yeah, and not giving everything up for the career, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Between the two worlds, you were trying to find a balance, and the inner world eventually started speaking louder. In this hustle and bustle and the fast pace of corporate career where you were so ambitious, Caro, your body was whispering long before it screamed. And many women will relate to this part deeply. Even while your career was rising, your body was whispering headaches, digestive issues, sleep problems, memory lapses. Why was it hard to see these signs as signs earlier?
It was hard to see them because everybody around me had it. Like, it was super normal. Like, it was super normal to have migraines, and if you have migraines, you just take a pill and then it's over.
Oh my
So you
god.
can continue working. Or it was so normal that you also, I remember this it was a trip to Mexico, flying like constantly, right? And I was having a picture that I took from myself where I looked in the mirror and I looked like pregnant, but I was not pregnant. I was like super bloated. So, and I'm like, well, this is not normal, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, everybody had it. So I'm like, well, that's how it is. I didn't really understood that these are like symptoms, or that these are signs where you should be aware of, actually. I think a lot of women know that in order to get energy, in order to start your day, it's super normal to drink like 1, 2, 3 coffees, or
Mhm.
some. I remember colleagues or bosses of mine, they needed their double espresso shots in
Mhm.
the morning, and then not just one, but like three or something. So I was in this environment where having symptoms, having back pain or whatsoever, is like super normal.
Oh my god. What you are saying is like normalization of high performance culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you are able to quickly get back on your feet with those migraines and those whatever you're going through stress, that shows how strong you are. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really not the right way to approach. But apparently, in today and for the last many years, the corporate culture has been normalizing this toxicity. When you look back now, what was the sign you wish you had listened to earlier?
Would have loved to listen to my body earlier. because the thing is that like we are in our in those jobs, they're like super mind focused. You're working with your brain, with your mind. And what we miss, the layer is then you have the body layer and you have the soul layer. So the one like some say soul, some say heart, your inner voice, intuition. And this is what was completely disconnected, right? Because the thing is, like your soul, your heart cannot speak. So what it does is that it speaks through symptoms. And I would have loved to know that before, because the symptoms that you have are reasons why you have them. Because the funny thing is, like today, I'm carrying more, I'm juggling more, and I don't have those symptoms anymore, you know? And that's interesting also to see, and also to pivot the complete thing, that there is something not going right if you have those symptoms. It's not normal to have constantly migraines. It's not normal also for us women that we have those when we have our period, the strong cramps, because it was for me also very normal to always have that. So I was one day always sick, you know. But then, of course, you couldn't be sick, so you took the
Painkillers.
painkillers to be there, like 200% at work. Yeah, you didn't have time for that, right? So I mean, also that's why you had the pill, right? I also had took that, right? Sometimes I even took it like completely through in order to don't get the then of course my period, yeah, to in order to be
Unstoppable.
unstoppable, yeah.
It's a hard reality, but many of those women or many of us, we do this to be back on our feet, to show how strong we are, to show that, oh, I never get sick. And nobody even talks about those cramps, period cramps, or those migraines at work. I mean, because I think it's something which you do it behind the doors, closed doors, and you never talk about it. You just show how strong you are. It's like a strong filter which everybody carries with them every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you had many peak moments of your successful career. At some point, you were also trying to get pregnant. How did chronic stress impact that chapter of your life?
So the interesting thing was, before actually thinking about getting pregnant, so I always said I will be the rich aunt and will never have kids. So this was like for me for sure, you know, when I started my career, I'm the rich aunt, and I will never have kids. That was like you could put like put it in solid, you know. And then at one point where I felt like, okay, I need to change something, because I came to Switzerland to get my work-life balance. But what happened, I started a new job, I moved countries, but I didn't change myself from the inside. Well, so what happened is that within 3 months, I had 1 month of over hours.
Wow.
Yeah, because we had deadlines, we had projects, we had go lives, we we were just rushing. But the thing was, I was also enjoying it. I love work. You can actually say, also, I would call myself a workaholic, which is okay, but the thing is, you can work much, but you can also increase your capacity, but don't forget yourself. And this is what happened, right? That I forgot myself. After that, right, I'm like, okay, I worked already too much. I need to change something, right? And also because the symptoms got worse. And I'm like, okay, I need to change something. So what I did is I completely changed my life with morning routines, evening routines, no screens, started to read books. I was never a bookworm. Suddenly I love books, I was waking up in the morning earlier to read my book further. I started yoga, and I started to take care more about myself, my life. So have this typical work-life balance that we all know, right? And then also we said, okay, we want to get pregnant at one time, because the thing is also, if we start a family, I cannot work this massive hours anymore, right? Because I want to take care of my child that's coming. So I really turned my life about like 180 degrees around. We started to conceive and so on, but nothing happened. And I'm like, but others are saying it happens so quick. Why not for us? We're like, okay, then you know, okay, you need to rest, right? Okay, I'm having stress, so what I need to do is to relax. Okay, so we booked 4-day holidays in the mountains, in the Alps, Matterhorn, to relax and do some spa and blah. Nothing happened. I'm like, I mean, nowadays I know I have 4 days to reduce your stresses. Yeah, it's also they're too ambitious, But and I'm like, okay, then we took a longer holiday, a longer break for 2 or 3 weeks. Still, nothing happened, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then you start questioning yourself, or is it something like with my health or husband or whatsoever? So it also, this chronic stress definitely affected the conceiving part, right? Because it took way longer than expected. But I mean, it's normal if your body is completely in fight and flight modus. If you know like what our bodies need to, what they are actually doing when they grow a baby into your beautiful belly, like what it all has, like what all everything has to function. But if you're constantly in your fight and flight mode, and if your nervous system is like completely over exaggerated, it's of course that it's not working. So it all, everything works out and makes sense why some things do not work out.
Yes, the feelings you just described say so much about the emotional weight of wanting something so natural and still feeling that your body was not ready. You know, that these are two paradox statements in its own.
Thing of thinking, okay, if I have a work-life balance that looks also nice on the outside again, then everything is going to be good again. No, it's not. That's more on a deeper level that you need to change. Yeah.
The social media, especially these days, right, tries to show you that if you do yoga, like you said, if you're doing wellness weekends, I think in a way those are good practices to
Yeah,
actually slow down.
for sure.
But if you add it on top of your already fast paced life, I think you're just going to add to the stress level and to running from one place to the other, right?
What is always important is like how you do it. Like the inner motivation. Do you just do it because like also there the from the outside it's coming, or do you do it also for like from an intrinsic motivation? Because otherwise, as you say, if you do it like from an extrinsic motivation and just do it because everybody tells you to do so, but you actually do not enjoy yoga, for instance, if you do the things which people tell you, which you do not enjoy, then it's the same effect actually. Yeah.
Yes, you need to really know what is your thing
Yeah.
to slow down, to
Right.
actually get back to that balance and find what works for you because
Right.
every individual has a different way what works for them, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Moving to Switzerland looked like balance,
Yeah.
but you fell into the same patterns when you describe your way of working, way of living. When did you realize that this wasn't sustainable?
So I realized that when the symptoms increased, right? And where I then changed my life into 180 degrees. But then the interesting part was, even though I changed everything, also there having this proper work-life balance, the symptoms didn't got less. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why do I get more symptoms? Why do I suddenly wake up during the night? Why do I have sleepless nights? Why suddenly do I have more migraines? Why do I suddenly forget things? And I'm like, something is something isn't working. Even though I was also doing like it's called nervous system regulation therapies, like craniosacral therapy. So because I knew like I was constantly in high and I needed to balance everything. But it was so interesting that even though I changed a lot, it didn't really work out properly. And that's what I told you just
Yes.
before with this work-life balance. It's about like what from the one hand like really nourish you, but it's actually also like nowadays I know it's like you need to change from the inside actually. Yeah.
And that was the moment, when you really, the symptoms never decreased and you had more and more symptoms. The body no longer was whispering but shouting, I think.
You could tell that. But I didn't, you know
Or
what, also,
screaming.
I would say they were screaming, yeah, that's well said, but I didn't listen, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's
Yeah.
like somebody is standing next to you and screaming to you, and you're like, deaf and don't hear it.
You need to silence the noise outside to be able to listen to the noise
Yes.
within. This is the moment many women fear, but also the moment that changes everything. Can you take us back to the meeting when you broke down, Caro? Behind
Mm.
screen, what
Mm.
happened inside you?
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a tough one. But also beautiful because that's why like one of the awakening moments that I had. So, you know, we were close to deadlines because everybody who knows who are doing SAP rollouts or in general rollouts, having projects where you have a deadline and going live, you know how tensions or yeah, how intensive and with a lot of pressure and tension those weeks before the go live are. And we were in that phase, and also it was where we had a go live of 4 countries at the same time. So we were juggling like 4 rollouts at the same time with a small team, and I had this huge responsibility about also different business units, and then having there the team, and then it was a normal meeting, right, which you discuss and where things get like heating up, and it's normal to have like discussions and to clarify them. But when I remember so good when the program manager like was asking me the question, I couldn't respond. I really, luckily the cameras were off, so nobody was really seeing that I was really falling into tears. I was really like breaking down, and luckily my colleague, she was also so super empathic that she took over, and she, because we actually had the same struggle, we were in the same boat, and she took over, and then suddenly I got this huge migraine, and the meeting was over, and my boss then told me, okay, just take the afternoon off, and tomorrow is a new day, to shuffle the work a bit, because I mentioned already before I have a lot of workload, and also in the team. So that's a great thing, about like working team and having support and supportive system also at work, that you support each other. But also there, the support didn't work, not because I didn't got the help, but because I didn't change like my behavior. So you can imagine, I told them I have a lot of work. So we were sitting in the morning together, aligning on the tasks that are really high priority. So they really helped us like together in prioritizing things. But then of course ad hoc things are coming in. And what did I do?
Kept saying yes?
Yes, I kept saying yes. And I mean, that's then something what, when I say I cannot anymore and I still continue doing the things, then people like, is she not really like having full, I mean, she's continuing it, right? And then, I mean, now then, I completely, that was one of my things, like where I know, where I really should have saying no, because nobody, that's also interesting, well, because we said before, like having a mask on, right, or a
Mm-hmm.
filter on, nobody in the outside could see how worse I feel from the inside, because I was still keeping being professional. I was still keeping on, like keep pushing. Yeah, for me it was weird that something, nothing, like from my mind I was like, what's going on? Like, this is not how I know myself. But that's the beautiful thing, actually, when your body really tells you you need to, take a break. It's
Mm-hmm.
about time. Yeah.
Wow. What was the first thought that
Mm.
came after you broke down into tears behind that team's meeting?
My first thought was that I didn't understand like what is happening. I'm like, what the heck? Like, why do I burst out in tears? Like, why? I didn't understand it. Yeah.
Later, after that, you took 4 months off
Mm-hmm.
and began deep emotional and spiritual healing in Costa Rica and Hawaii. I'm glad you did that, I wanted to say. And during your soul retreat, what shifted in you during that period?
Oh, there shifted a lot. The interesting thing is actually also to actually go there is also something that, well, it's really important that you should keep listening to, like, to your inner voice, and also the signs that you get from outside, because I didn't decide to go there. I was guided to go there, because back then my aunt was a super support during that time, because she's also an alternative practitioner, and she had this magazine. I don't know if you know it. It's like happiness magazines. So it's also about like health and spirituality and coming back to yourself. And she's like, you know what? I somehow have the feeling that you need to go to Hawaii, because I've read an article about a woman who's giving their soul retreats. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds great, right? Hawaii,
Yes.
I always wanted to travel to Hawaii, of course, why not? And she's like, okay, give me a try, because the article is already a couple of years ago. I have here a stack full of magazines. Give me a time, I will come back to you. So what did she do? She took like from her huge stack that she had there, like the first 5 magazines. She opened up the first magazine, and what was there? The article. And because she also said, like, if she doesn't find it, then then it's not meant to be. But with the first magazine, and it was like already a couple of years old, she directly found that article and sent it to me. And I was reading it, and I was like, this is it. This is it, what my soul really needs right now. Because I also, during that period, I had 2 coaches also who were a great support, like one of a psychological base, and the one was a system and life coach. And with the life coach, I learned more about like body, mind, soul level, the connection and everything. So we really went deep already on patterns and so on. And I'm like, okay, I need to continue this journey. And that's what we did, right? So we first went to Costa Rica, and then took the time really for a bit like disconnecting sanctuary. There was also like a yoga hotel, retreat hotel where we stayed. So that was super, super beautiful. And then like being connected there with the nature, and there are also beautiful things happened back that time. And then yeah, we came to Hawaii for 2 weeks and did this whole journey, where the first time I was really also even more deeper getting to know myself better.
And this was during the COVID times.
Yes.
When you say, backwards your story and those journeys, I get those signs that you were always intuitive. And you all, as women, we are all very intuitive, right? And you always looked for those signs, like, you and your aunt, when you look at the magazine together, and you were like, if it's meant to be, it will come, we will see it immediately. And the first page came. So when you're open to that, signs, you get them everywhere. That was your sign.
Yeah.
When you finally had that emotional release, getting to know yourself more deeper in this retreat, what did you finally meet inside yourself that you avoided all those years before?
I knew that I was carrying a lot. So I would say I really had a huge backpack on my back. And I never looked at it, because it was normal to carry everything, right? So for me and my environment. There, it was then suddenly, oh my god, my backpack is that full? Because we did like a beautiful ritual at the beach back then. And the things she did there, I really like on visual, I saw like how much I carry. And I'm like, oh my god. And then it was not about like to consciously know what I'm carrying, but actually the most important thing was like to release it, but also release it with love. Not grieving about it or being frustrated about it. But this is also what Hawaii told me, like to get this deep connection towards love and towards also self-love. And that we women and we're human beings, we're perfect as we are. And it's just about to really get this deep love also towards ourselves, and that we can change, and that we can release what's not like what is holding us back, and what we're not do not need to carry anymore. Yeah.
You have to tell me more about Hawaii retreat, yoga retreat, and the Happiness magazine, and also Costa Rica, because I think that would be really interesting for a lot of women out there.
Yeah.
Because looks like they did a lot of inner healing, inner awakening, alignment with your true soul, body, mind, purpose, right?
Yeah.
After you finally released all that emotional backpack and the burden you were carrying with love in your retreats during your time in Hawaii, Costa Rica, you finally returned pregnant after months of trying. How did this experience transform your connection with yourself?
Yeah, maybe also before going into that question, what I would love to share is that because it's also important, like what it like did with me when we were in Hawaii. We had this morning ceremony with the Hawaiian eldest, and she didn't like we have never met before, so she doesn't know us. And then we had this beautiful morning ceremony, and she was already seeing. I think it was like the second day or something, and she already said like you're carrying a lot, so I already bursted out into tears. And like, oh my god, how does she know, like, right? And she were telling all the things that we were currently going through, and one thing that she told me is like, and you know what, it's currently super moon. Oh, okay. It makes me emotional because this moment, 1 second. Tissues are there, that's good, because this moment is really like also one of the awakening moments and life-changing moments. Thank you so much, because she said like it's super moon, and like the stars are right and whatever, and you will get pregnant. And that was so beautiful in that moment, because but also it was beautiful that she said it. 1 second. You know, it's like this pure deep joy and love, you know, that I currently feel. um and she's like, you will get pregnant. So of course we were like, no, we were bursting out in tears, and I'm like, why should a supermoon now helping us get pregnant? Like, what the heck? What is this kind of saying? Like, why? For me back then, I wasn't that like into spirituality, and so I was always very connected to my intuition, as you also already mentioned, and I knew there are some higher, how do you say, higher,
Higher power,
yeah,
higher
higher power,
energy.
yeah. So there was like a higher power, but I was like not so deep into it, you know. I believed in the astrology, but not so deep. So I was like, why should a supermoon now of course help us, like, why? So yeah, we were like, yeah, we will see, you know. And then really like the day coming back from Hawaii back to Switzerland, um, I did a test, and I was pregnant.
Oh my god.
And that was like also one of those moments in my life where I started to believe also more into this higher power, and that, you know, and faith, and that things are coming even more together when they are meant to be, you know. Because also you see my journey, I changed everything like on the outside, but I didn't change from the inside. And how can I, and also to be honest, like if you have, I mean, you know, by yourself, you're a mother, you're having two beautiful boys, you know. If you would work like your ass off, how can you raise kids, right? And then you really also need to make space for those kids, right? And to also like consciously saying, I want to take care about them, you know. I'm giving them life, and that's I also want to spend the time with them, right? And this is first what I needed to change internally. And that's when, because this then broke, let's say, open up the sparks, it was actually possible then, of course, to get pregnant. And the funny thing is that in the beginning, I was still in this cycle of career woman, that when, okay, now, yeah, I'm making space for the child that is coming. But because in Switzerland it's like you get like 4 months maternity leave and then you start again, right? So my plan was 4 months, starting 80%. That was for sure. But so also that was a process, because also there it's so important to see the signs and get the people, like, also listen to the people in your field, in your environment, because back then I had a very good close friend and a boss who both told me, like, take more time. She also lost her job, she's also a career woman, and she said I couldn't give my son to daycare after 6 months. He's like this tiny, I didn't want to give him into other hands. And also the other boss, like, who I'm also so thankful for, he also said, like, I didn't spend the time with my kids and I really regret it. So, your career will not walk away from you. The time with your kids, the precious times, the first few years, they will walk away because they will never come back. And that made me realize also, like, yeah, it's true, and that also made me realize that I still can have a career also when I'm working part-time. So really this deep mindset switch.
You touched upon so many deep levels, and I think there were lot said in those brief pauses and tears, which I think every woman can relate to what you just said, because I think something so natural like having a wish to have kids can stress up so much in us, because we have this career we need to juggle. We need to make a planning with the limited number of maternity leave we get.
Yeah.
And when you got this advice from your peers, your close friends, if you can say, that you take the time off, I think that's the best piece of advice any woman can get and actually implement, because I know, I've been there twice, and I really took that time off, and I know how it is, because you can never go back to those days, right? And I think you're gonna cherish those moments, because they will never be repeated, and they
No.
grow so fast.
Yeah. I mean, how precious it is that you see your kid, like, for the first time, like, making noises, right? When it starts, like, figuring out his
Yes.
voice, or when suddenly, like, crawling or
Yes.
rolling over. I mean, that's so precious.
Every
Yeah,
little
right?
milestone is so precious, which will be forever etched into your memory,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Caro, you were this high achiever, high performance, very quick into everything you did at work. Is there a small message you want to give in like one or two lines to the women out there who are, chasing that peak success, who are at the peak success of their career? We have many out there, right? If they had to choose between motherhood and career, is this something you would say is a choice they should choose between, or is this something you would phrase it differently?
So it's always super individual. So this is also what I want to say. What's right for you is maybe not right for the other. And I think that's so super important, to find your own way on defining what means it for you. And if you feel like from the inside that you believe that career and motherhood and having a family is in line, then it's your truth, right? If you're the woman who just, follows her career, then that's your truth. And that's, every facet is there completely good and great, because that's your purest self.
Mm-hmm. Very beautifully said.
That's just my reality, just my point of view, right? But that's like not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of us, that everybody is individual, and that everybody of us can have the power to decide what's true to ourselves.
You came back to consulting differently, then built your business at night and didn't burn out. How did inner transformation change your relationship with work?
A lot. A lot, definitely. So the first thing, right? So I came back with 50%. You said before I was the high ambitious, but I'm still like high ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't changed in that identity. I just changed like the capacity and the energy that I'm carrying. Because so I started, then I took the more than 10 months off with my daughter, which was like super beautiful. And then I started working 50%. But in the evening hours, like back then, like this journey shaped me, and I'm like, I want to start my own business. I want to help other women because I wanted to help other women that were in my situation back then. Because I said, I would have wished a coach by my side who supported me in those challenging days and who would help me navigate to even like overcome these challenges easier and even also to hold them easier and not burning out. So then, right, I started at 50% working again, but I started also building my own business. So in the evening hours, I was then building my business,
Wow.
starting that. I then also decided to go back to consultancy because before I was internal, like an in-house consultant, and I wanted to again be in this environment of consultancy working with different companies. And what has changed there is that I positioned myself as the true Caro, as who I am with my clear boundaries, what is possible, like super confident in myself and not dimming my light or shrinking myself just because I'm a mother. Because we often think, oh, okay, now I got, I know I'm a mother, and now I don't, I'm not like, you don't see yourself, on the same level as others who don't have kids, but actually, you're like here. Because imagine what you're like juggling day in and day out, and because we all know who are mothers, it's like not a job which is like just a few hours a day, it's like 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
and then working, so when I then applied, and also the funny thing was I applied for the typical consultancy job, right, in the projects, and then leading the teams and so on, like a specific field or business unit. And they said like, oh well, but with 50% it's hard. So what? And there again, how life turns out. The beautiful thing is that they created a position for myself who even fit better to what I was doing. I could select my own projects. I could really had more this autonomy, and could decide self like where I'm supporting. I was like in different projects involved, and that was like super beautiful. And the greatest thing was also I got the complete support from my bosses,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe also people, or definitely also other women, can recognize or feel that if you're unsatisfied in a job where you do not feel heard or do not feel supported, then or a lot of things are frustrating you out, that you think, okay, I need to change jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is when you change jobs, you change the environment, but you're not changing yourself, because you're taking yourself with your same patterns. And in the beginning, mostly the first year is amazing, or the first 2 years, and then you have the same challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't do that, because I really clearly positioned myself, I got like all the support. I got here, like the project coming to me, and that was amazing. And other colleagues were like super frustrated and actually left the company. And I didn't have that feeling because I had the great support.
Wow, your clarity and knowing exactly what you want, who you want to be, how you want to be in that environment, in that work, became your calling by
Mm.
helping other women to be also more conscious. And eventually, this became the foundation of something
Oh
so
yeah.
much bigger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the woman you became and the mission you carry now. Your sabbatical in Indonesia was the birthplace of Elisa. What clarity did it give you about your purpose?
Like how I really want to change other women's life and actually to shape this world. So what came clear to me is not that I'm just here to support, but I have a higher mission. My mission is to create a paradigm shift in our economy, where especially women, us we women, where we start to show our authentic self and tap into our feminine qualities. So, with feminine qualities, I mean the intuition that we have, like our inner voice, the empathy that we are carrying, the collaborations, the active listening, and see this as really like an outstanding power that we women naturally carry within us. And this is actually the power for us to integrate it in our work in our careers, because as you also mentioned in the beginning, right, I'm working in IT. It's super male dominant, so meaning also a lot of masculine qualities with structure, very dominant of a strong power, and the thing is we both need we need both. It's super important to have both,
Yin and yang.
right? Yin and yang. It's always about balance, but what we're just missing out is the yin, you know and that we integrate it, that we start integrate it, because then you stand in your true power and you start to shine from the inside out. You're like super authentic, and you really become also the leader that that is leading by excellence, that everybody is like showing up. And the beautiful thing is you do that naturally because you're more connected to yourself. And that's the beautiful thing, that you don't feel this, that it's draining you, that's draining your energy, that's making you tired, because you're just connected to your true self. It actually automatically lifts you up.
Yeah, like in other ways, you teach women to stop leading their businesses or their work like a man, tap into their feminine energy, and to use the superpower which women have in us, right?
Yeah.
And your early clients confirmed your calling.
Yes.
What did you witness in them that moved you?
I knew that it worked for me, right? And I also had this deep feeling, okay, when this is good for me, it will definitely also be good for others. So, and the beautiful thing was that they actually stated that they experienced, that they suddenly felt more like this inner balance, because what I said, I experienced this outer balance and just have work-life balance. No, what I'm doing is like really this inner balance from yourself, that actually also, no matter what storm is coming in, you're easy super, even though the wave is like 10 meters high, you're still on your surfboard and surfing this wave, and you have this confidence, and you will surf through the waves easily, and that's what then those women reflected to me, that they were so thankful to getting this new perspectives, this new ideas, because we're all within our own silo thinking, as you say that, or like our own box, and I actually opened their box, and that they suddenly saw, oh my god, yes, I can do it, or I am able. They actually, the most beautiful thing is that I reminded them to their inner light again, and just remembering, because the beautiful things, we all have that inside, it was just forgotten, and that's what I'm doing. I'm remembering the women.
You are unwrapping them, unleashing them,
Yeah.
their own superpower, right?
Yes.
It's there.
Yes.
Somebody has to just unwrap that gift.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
do that
Yes.
through Elisa.
Yeah.
Today, you teach high vibe leadership to companies and to individuals. Leadership, what does it mean to you, and why does it, you think, have to be intuitive, have to be nervous system regulated and feminine energy? Why do we need to tap into those?
Because I think it's about the time to start like a new era, and to start leading in 2025 and beyond. And that's important, that we start leading authentically with our true selves in order to not to burn out anymore, in order not to repeat the patterns from the past, and that we actually start being our true self.
Beautifully said, Carol. I think when we are our true self, we are able to do authentically everything which our inner soul and body is meant to be. Finally, what is your deepest wish for the woman listening today?
You have everything within you. Everything that you need in life is already inside you. The sparkle, the joy, the fun, the energy, you know. And it's just about to start remembering that and to get that to the surface and to get that in your consciousness, into your reality. And that every one of us has this superpower, you know, and it's just about to bring it back up.
Caro, thank you for taking us with you. Thank you for showing us that motherhood doesn't shrink a woman, rather, it expands her capacity. And that feminine leadership isn't softness, it's clarity, depth, and presence. And the courage to lead from the inside out. To everyone listening, this is Bhavna, your host at Share Her Story Switzerland. If Caroline's journey awakened something in you, I invite you to stay connected, to follow our channels, and walk with us as we bring more real, powerful, and transformative stories to light. Thank you for listening. Until next time, honor your truth and take care of your story.